Hey friends, I hope you're all well. It's been a little while, but I've been trying to get a few bits and bobs together so I could do a video. Before we start, firstly, if you're new, welcome. Thanks for joining us. It would be awesome, super awesome, if you would smash the hell out of my subscribe button and then tickle my notification bell just so you can keep abreast of what's coming up and content, which is a little bit sporadic at the moment because it's difficult getting out of town to go and find records to buy, and I don't want to pay HMV prices, and I'm sick of taking chances on eBay. But I am endeavouring to get new bits and bobs in all the time. So thanks for sticking with me, and of course if you're returning, thank you so much. It means the world. Anyway, let's crack on because I've got a lot to. I know I normally try and keep it quite short, but I think this is going to be the last one of this year, so it's like a big Christmas roundup. I think I've got 9 records to get through, and they're in no particular order. But here we are. I've got a nice big pile. So I hope you're all well and whole, sort of ready for Christmas. It's cold but no snow as yet here in sunny Darlington, outside the fortress of pulchritude, but there's still plenty of time. Anyway, without much further ado, we're all here to talk about vinyl, so let's do it. So, kicking off this week, we've got Neil Young's latest release, Barn. And to be honest, I love Neil Young, I really do, but Neil Young and Crazy Horse, this is a little bit of a letdown. Orally, it sounds as good as you would expect anything that Neil releases to sound. You know, it's got that great definition. Everything sounds warm. Everything is just perfect from a sound point of view. But the songs are just a bit shit, with the exception of Canary Can, which I quite like. But everything else, it just sounds like it's the same song over and over again. There's just no real. It just doesn't do anything for me. I was really incredibly disappointed. I nearly bought the deluxe version, which was about 65 notes. So I'm really glad that I didn't. But you know, you might like it, get it, check it out, and just notice there's a tiny little moon just up there. I don't know if you can see that. But yeah, again, that's out. You know, it's nicely packaged, you know, and it is a decent pressing. It's not on the Reprise label as his records normally are, which is, oh no it is, I tell a lie, it's just down there at the bottom. Oh yeah, there, didn't see that. But anyway, yeah, give it a go. But let me know your thoughts, maybe down in the comments if you've already got it, what you think about it. But I honestly don't think it's. I'd rather have probably had another one of his old live recordings than that, to be honest. Or that he just spent. I mean, you know, this is a guy that wrote Old Man and Powderfinger, and you know the list is huge. So this is just a bit. It's just a bit lacking. Next up. AC/DC, Back in Black. Now, obviously, this is their classic 1980 album, and the first one with good old Brian Johnson after, sadly, Bond's got some timely death. And it's a brilliant album. And this is a 2009 re-release, and I got this from Big Asda in Manchester. Over near the Etihad Stadium where our eldest son lives, and it was only 15 quid. I was just in there, we just popped in to use the toilets actually, and I was waiting for Lisa. I thought, I'll just have a quick look. Found that they had some vinyl, which supermarkets used to have it. They all used to have it, and then they all seemed to phase it out. But then Big Asda near the Etihad, they had a little bit of a selection in, and this was 15 notes. So I thought, oh, I'll get that 15 quid, why not? And it's brilliant, yeah, really good. It sounds really nice. There's a lot of nice definition. It's maybe not as powerful as I would have expected it to have been, but it's still decent for 15 quid. Moving swiftly on, Queensryche. Now, these guys, I think I've talked about them before. They had like a 3-album sweet spot in their career of Rage for Order, Operation Mindcrime and Empire. Those 3 albums are 3 of the best albums of the 80s and 90s sort of metal scene, in my opinion. And they're kind of like a bit of a prog band, and this was a concept album, and it was really, really good at the time. Now, CD had come out, sort of mid-80s. And I remember Range for Order had ADD, so it was analog recorded, digitally mixed, digitally mastered, and Operation Mindcrime was 3D. So, and I thought at the time, it's all digital, it's going to be brilliant, and it was a really powerful album. I mean, the drums, if you turned it up really loudly, the drums would cut right through you. And I did read about them recording Empire, and they had to tone the drums down on Empire because they said that they were blowing the speakers in the studio. So I was really kind of looking forward to hearing what this would sound like. Now, bear in mind this was released 3 years, this was 88, I think 87, 88 time. And Metallica's The Black Album was released in 91. Now the Black Album was definitely recorded analog, and this was recorded digitally, and it sounds really nice. It's got like loads of definition. There's things on there that I was hearing that I don't, recall it being such a nuanced kind of, piece of music. But it just doesn't have that same power that the drums don't have that same kind of power that I remember on the CD, and the reissue pressing of the Black Album has, not the most recent one, I haven't heard that because that's like just ridiculously expensive, but the one that, the general one from 2009 or whatever it was. But it's nice, it's 2 discs, so it's like spread out over 2 discs, no bonus, but it is really, really, it's nicely packaged, and this was only 22 quid I think, so I was quite impressed with that. Again, this was purchased on our little trip to Manchester for Christmas, so this was like an early Christmas present. So it's got all the blurb, the lyrics, and then it's just got all the nice stuff. So yeah, it is a really good album. As concept album goes, obviously there's a story running through it about this guy as a drug addict and an assassin, and it's a really great set of songs. So give yourself a treat, give that a go. Next, Slade. Come On Feel the Hits. This is 2020 release, and it's a weird sounding album, I'm not gonna lie. Again, it's a double album. I got this, it was HMV have I don't know if it's still going now, but last week they had a thing on where some records were 33% off the mark price, so I got this for like 14 quid. So I got this, Queensryche and Barn for 70 quid. So that was quite decent. Less than 70 quid, about 55, 60, something like that. Anyway, this album, it's a great album. It's got, Slade, when I was a kid, Slade were, one of my favourite bands when I was a wee boy. And there's some great tracks on here, and some of them that I recognised, but I didn't recognise, like looking at the title, but I thought, oh yeah, I remember that. And the thing that gets me is the sound from like side A through side D, because it's a double discer again, is weird, because it starts off and it's pretty shit. And at first I thought, oh my god, I came over and I checked my stylus and I checked the record. I even took it off and I put Hunky Dory on, which, as you know, is my go-to record for like reference if I'm like listening to something or setting something up. And that sounded fine, absolutely perfect, so I put it back on, and I don't know, how do they do compilation albums? Nowadays it's pretty easy because they can just get the digital tracks and then cut them, but how did they do it 30 years ago, before all this? You bought Queen's Greatest Hits, how did they put that album together? Because they would have had to get all the different tapes together for all the different tracks, and then master each track individually. So, or put them all onto one tape and then master, the whole album. But so this is probably, I don't know whether they've just used low bit rate MP4s or whatever, but it starts off and the sound's really sort of muddy and ill-defined. But then when you get to the end, with the exception of Merry Christmas Everybody, it sort of gets better and better as you work through and you sort of work up the timeline. And the sound gets better and better, and there are some great tracks on there. Come On Feel the Noise, Take Me Back Home, Mamma Roll, All Crazy Now, Squeeze Me, Please Me, How Does It Feel, We'll Bring the House Down, which is an absolute belter. Run Run Away, which is probably the last single I remember them releasing, actually. They do have a few more that follow on after that. And then, of course, the very last track on the album is Merry Christmas Everybody, which is probably the song that they're probably the most famous for, and it's probably the most, played Slade song at this time of year. But yeah, worth it for 14-15 quid. Its recommended price was only 19 anyway, so it's still a bargain at 19 quid for a double disco like that. Next, Idiot Prayer. So yeah, I've got a couple of Nick Cave albums. I got a Greatest Hits triple and another one that's name I can't remember. It's got a white cover with his wife naked on the front where he's kind of walking away and she just drops her gown. Apparently, the photographer took that shot and said, right, that's the album cover. But this album, recorded during lockdown, it gives you like a full rundown of the pandemic and everything. So it's just Nick Cave with a piano at the Alexandra Palace. He's not quite alone. He does have a few people there with him. What to say about this album? It's not an album to put on if you're depressed, because it's not a very upbeat album. But it is beautiful. It sounds amazing. It's quite haunting. It's just him and the piano and everything. It's like he's in the room. It really is such a great record, such a great sounding record. It's well worth. I think I paid 25 for it. I don't know. I can't remember. I think I got this in Manchester as well, actually. So maybe I did spend 70 quid. I got Queensryche, Barn, and Slade, and that. Yeah, I think I did spend 70 quid. So yeah, I think I did buy that. I don't remember ordering it anywhere else, but yeah, who knows. And then moving on really quickly because I'm waffling. With all the sort of like chatter about the Beatles with Peter Jackson's Get Back film, we went to Durham a few weeks back, which is where my favourite record shop, the Record Hut, has relocated to. So they're in the indoor market there. So if you're going to go, have a look. Great selection, and they take the time to sort of let you know sort of what each one is. So for example, this one, I got Let It Be from there, and I did pay 30 quid for it, which I think is a little over the odds, but it is an 80s direct metal mastering, and it doesn't just say it on their sticker, it actually says it on the back there, direct metal mastering. It does sound really nice. I'm not a massive Beatles fan. The Beatles are one of those bands that I feel I should like more than I do, but to be honest, a lot of their stuff leaves me cold. But this album is, it is pretty cool. And I fully intend to watch Get Back. Everyone, including my ace mate Justin, has been telling me, oh, it's really good. You should give it a go. So I will. Next up was another bonus from that shop. Again, I paid 29 for this, but I got a £10 discount overall. So I'm going to say I got this for 20 quid because this is a first press, European first press. So this was released in 1989. And it's an album that I've listened to on Amazon Music, and I really, really like it. And so I was quite excited to get this, and it's as good as Exit Stage Left or All the World's a Stage. In terms of sound quality, it's got some great tracks on, Big Money, Subdivisions, The Mission, Distant Early Warning, Mystic Rhythms, which is a great one, The Rhythm Method, which is a great drum solo, Force 10 and Time Stand Still and Closer to the Heart, amongst others. Recorded in Arizona, the UK and New Jersey by the looks of it. So those 3 dates on a tour sometime in the 80s. It's great, except it's in perfect condition, except there is a small imperfection in the vinyl on the, which side is it? It's on the second disc during Distant Early Warning, and it's kind of like just like a little dip in the vinyl itself. It's not a scratch or like any kind of collision, any kind of chip. It's just like a little. It's just like if you press plasticine and you play with plasticine or Play-Doh and you push stuff in, and you kind of get like little gaps where things just haven't quite filled in it. That's what it looks like. It just looks like a tiny little bit of like the vinyl just didn't quite meet. So it doesn't. It just causes some clicking. It doesn't skip, but it's not ideal. But still, I'm happy to have that. The tracks that I really like aren't really, because I'm not really, you know, Distant Early One is alright, but Mystic Rhythms is fine, and the Rhythm Method is fine, and everything else is really good. So I'm just going to pause it there because my phone is ringing. So bear with me a second. And it was just a cold call, so fuck them, right? Okay, so we're into the final three, and what have we got? How should we do this? We'll do these two first. Okay, so where did I get this from? I'm not sure. I wonder when I bought this. Anyway, I got this, Kiss, their first album. I love Kiss. I don't care what anyone says about them. Yeah, they're, you know, Gene and Paul have a bad rep, but I really like them, and they're not, you know, they're not musical geniuses by any stretch of the imagination. They're none of them really virtuosos on what they do, but they're competent and they write great songs, and that's what really matters. You know, I'd rather listen to an Ace Frehley solo than an Yngwie Malmsteen solo, because at least I can hum an Ace Frehley solo. So this is a 2014 reissue of their eponymous debut, and it's a great album. It includes Kiss in Time, which wasn't on the original pressings. Kiss in Time is a cover by a band whose name I don't know, but it was put together by Neil Bogart, who was head of their record label Casablanca, because he thought it'd be a great idea. There was like a kissing competition, a kissing booth competition, and he thought it'd be a great idea to tie it in with Kiss to promote the band. And so he had them go into the studio and record that, and then subsequent pressings of the album had that on. Now, Kiss didn't really take off for, this was 74. They've been going for like a couple of years already at this point. This came out, did alright, but didn't do brilliantly. They released another 2 albums over the course of the next sort of 12 months or so. But they didn't really take off that well until Alive, and that really propelled them into the stratosphere. But another album, which was probably their definitive, their Night at the Opera, is this. Now this is a beauty, and this was only 34 quid. I got this offline off Record Store. I got it from recordstore.com. I think it was it Sound of Vinyl? No, soundofvinyl.com. So it's a double album, and this is apparently a US pressing, because I looked on Discogs today to put it on, and it only brought up this coloured vinyl version. It's a US only thing, so it's really, really nice. Now this is the second disc, and instead of just like stretching it out to squeeze money out of you and putting like, you know, all the tracks onto one disc, they have got the actual album on the first disc. Actually, let me get this out so I don't knock this, because also you get this beautiful book with it too, which is really good. You know, it's like it kind of makes it look like a tape cover, but it's got like lots of really cool things on. Little sound bites from Bob Ezrin, who was the producer of the album, and it's got sound bites from individual members of the band as well, and it kind of just gives you a little insight into sort of what went on. I've also just listened to all 4 of the members. Fuck me. I'll just put it there for now. All 4 of the members' audio, well, their autobiographies as audio books, and they all kind of talk about it with varying degrees of fondness for their own little reasons. But yeah, this second album is the second disc, is full of demos. So the first side you got Paul Stanley demos, God of Thunder, Detroit Rock City, and Love Is Alright. Second side is Rarities. Oh, sorry, it's got Gene Simmons demos. I Don't Want No Romance, Rock and Rolls Royce, and Star. Which, although these are all demos, they've got a really, you know, they polish them up really nicely. Then the fourth side is Rarities. So we've got an acoustic mix of Beth, a mono single edit of Shout It Out Loud, a live rehearsal instrumental of King of the Nighttime World, an instrumental of Detroit Rock City, early version of Flaming Youth, and an alternate mix of Shout It Out Loud. And it really is, this whole thing, I mean, I had an original copy of Destroyer way back when, and I just remember it, I really liked it. But this album, you know, Kiss always do strike me, although I do like them, they are ones for cash grabs. Let's not beat about the bush. And I just expected this to be a cash grab, the same as I expected the other album to be, just a bit of a cash grab. Yeah, let's just bang it on. Doesn't matter what the masters are like, just do it. But no, they've taken some time to make sure that everything sounds perfect. That album sounds amazing to me. It sounds really good. It's got more definition and depth than I ever remember it having, and this is exactly the same. So it is worth a listen, because it is an iconic album. Whether this kind of thing is your bag or not, it is worth your time. And at 34 notes, absolute bargain on Discogs, just from like low, medium, and full on price. It's 67 quid across the board, so I feel like I've got a real bargain there. It's just put those down. It's got a gatefold sleeve with the King of the Nighttime World lyrics on there, and it's got the full painting by Frank Kelly there, because they wanted Frank Frazetta to do it, but he was charging way too much, so they found somebody that had a similar style to Frazetta, and so that's what they got. And then there was this Burning City in the background, which caused a little bit of furore with the record company. They didn't want it, and so he had to make it really small. And there are some sketches, I think, in the little book. Some production sketches. Let's have a look. Sure. Bear with me. I might be lying. Sure, I saw some. Maybe I did, maybe I've dreamt it. How fucked up is that? Yeah. Well, I've seen them somewhere, I'm not sure where, but it's got loads of like Kiss tickets on the back there from like the Destroyer 2, including one for the Hammersmith Odeon, which is pretty cool. And so yeah, that's it. There's one more record to go. This now, you may remember, I think it was in the last episode, I said I'd been to see him at York Barbican, Front Row Centre, and he was actually selling this at the time for 20 quid. And I didn't buy one and I really regretted it, but he said while he was playing, if you can see that little microphone there, the whole album was recorded with that and an old tape recorder. It does say somewhere. Here we go. Yeah, this record was recorded using one Western Electric 639A microphone from the 40s into an old Burcon tube amp, then into an old Ampex tape recorder in mono. So it is an actual mono album. I just don't know how to make it no more simpler from Steve. And he said, you know, he just sat in his barn, just him and his guitar, and he'd be sat in one room and the tape deck was in the other room, and he'd have a bottle of whiskey and he'd just start recording, and he would have to like get up and then run it in the next room and turn the tape off when he finished, because it was just him doing it. And he said, you know, there's been absolutely no computers anywhere near this recording, so it's a full analog recording. It's gone over, it's been fully mastered from the analog tapes. They've done it all the old-fashioned way as far as they could, and then it's pressed. And I was pleasantly surprised I didn't read the advert when I bought it off Amazon, because I got it on a pre-order, but it's in blue vinyl, so it's blues in mono in blue. And what he's done is he's taken. He said when he played live that, you know, he remembered watching some of the old blues greats, and the idea for the album came about where he thought, you know, these songs are going to get lost at some point. especially when you go right back to the old blues guys where, you know, there might not be any recordings of them, or the recordings that you have are pretty sort of scant, so he wanted to do his own kind of little tribute to these guys. So I think a couple of songs are new, but the majority of the songs are by other artists. And it's got quite a decent, decent track list in there. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 songs altogether. We've got Fred's Worried Blues, My Babe, Laughing to Keep from Crying, Well, 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 Betty Brown, Going Down South, Waiting in Charleston, Miss Mabel, Whiskey Headed Woman, Moon Going Down, Golden Spun, and Dusty Man. And each one is an absolute gem. It is, and it sounds amazing. It just if you just sit down, turn the lights down low, close your eyes, and it is just like Steve sat there serenading you. And he is don't let his appearance fool you. He is quite a master of what you can do with 3 strings. It takes a piss out of what some guys these days can't do with 6 strings. So yeah, another great album. So that's it. That is everything for this year. I have no more new records, and don't know when I'm going to get some more, but I will endeavour to get some. So all that's left is to say to everybody that's subscribed and everyone that's kind of stuck with me is thank you. It's been quite an amazing year. I know compared to most YouTubers, I think I've got 65 subscribers, and that's small fry compared to a lot of people, but I'm really pleased with that. That's 65 people that I didn't expect to have. I maybe thought maybe 1, 2 at the most. So to have 65 is amazing. So thank you all from the bottom of my heart, and I hope you all have an absolutely amazing Christmas, and I wish you all nothing but health and happiness for 2022. So this is me signing off for now, and I'll see you in the new year. Take care.